Passenger trains. They are a railway's impression in the public mind, symbols of power and prestige. On the Northwestern Railway's Mainline, there are three types of passenger services offered: specials, expresses, and commuter services. All of these serve important roles within the railway's timetables, providing services for all types of passengers on the island of Sodor. Specials are the simplest services the NWR offers. This is when a passenger or group leases a train ride between two destinations. On the island of Sodor, football games are the largest sources of these specials. Whenever the Sudrian Stadium hosts a football game, the NWR adds additional services from Tidmouth to Sudrian that coincide with commuter runs to shuttle fans to the match. This isn't the only use for special services, as occasionally businesses will charter trains for events or meetings. Another growing use for special services are tourist trains to holiday destinations along Sodor's west coast. Several travel agencies have seen it fit to schedule additional services during the busy summer seasons. The last major use for specials comes in the form of enthusiast trains. As British Railways continues to withdraw its steam fleet, many enthusiasts have flocked to the Northwestern to see these iron horses at work. In 1961, the Northwestern hosted 16 such specials. Since the Northwestern's fleet is mainly busy working with scheduled services, it is up to a ragtag fleet to take these specials. Numbers 5 and 25 are usually slated to take extra passenger services as the railway's main mixed traffic locomotives. However, it isn't uncommon for numbers 9 and 10 to handle specials as well. Meanwhile, the Brenham Docks shunter, Stanley, often handles the aforementioned football traffic to Sudrian. As for coach stock, the type used depends on the need. Larger trains, such as the football specials, simply use the railway's existing commuter passenger fleet, a fleet they have purchased from British Railways. However, smaller specials often use the former Arlesburg Light Railways fleet of Victorian-era coaches, or the recently acquired observation coaches. Given the mixed nature of the locomotives and passenger stock used, specials are a dream for railway photographers. While far from the railway's bread and butter, the Northwestern does turn a tidy profit on these services, and maintains its image as an important staple in Sudrian society. With more hotels and resorts opening along Sodor's west coast, and new football stadiums in Elgart and Vicarstown under construction, many more of these specials are sure to come in the future. Like most railways, the Northwestern operates a number of end-to-end expresses. These are services that only stop at important destinations rather than every station. The NWR operates 6 different round-trip express services daily. 4 of these are hauled by number 4 Gordon, a modified Bresley A3. The first express departs Tidmouth Station at 8 a.m. sharp. The express is allowed to have a cruising speed of 70 miles per hour. However, in some areas, such as the notorious Gordon's Hill, it must follow the posted speed limit. Most expresses make a stop at Crovan's Gate to connect with the Skarloey Railway. For the morning express, this happens at 8:40, allowing many to access the heart of eastern Sodor. The train then arrives at Barrow-in-Furness at 9 o'clock, exactly an hour after its departure from Tidmouth. It takes 15 minutes to get the coaches and locomotive ready for the return trip to Tidmouth. Thus, the morning express's return leg departs Barrow-in-Furness at 9:15 and stops off at Crovan's Gate just like before at 9:30, before arriving at Tidmouth for 10:15. Number 4, Gordon handles 4 of these round trips per day. This includes the 8 o'clock service, and the remaining 3 that depart Tidmouth at 10:35, 2 p.m., and 6:30 p.m. respectively. The 10:35 train is named the Wildnorwester, as it connects with a London-bound service once it arrives in Barrow at 11:45. These express services are typically 6 coaches long, but the Wildnorwester always contains 2 extra coaches, one of which makes its way onto the Farquhar branch. Gordon runs these services like clockwork, hardly ever arriving late. However, he is not the only engine to haul an express service. One of the railway's 2 resident LNYR modified Class 28s is always slated to pull a slower express originating from Tidmouth. This is called the Eagle Express, nicknamed after its hauling locomotive, number 25, Winston, who is known as the Eagle. It is a lunch service with meal offerings that departs Tidmouth at 12 on the dot. It then makes 2 stops, the first at Kildane at 12:30, the only express to stop at this station. The next is at Crovan's Gate at 12:55. It pulls smoothly into Barrow-in-Furness at 1:20 p.m. While a much slower service taking an extra 20 minutes, the Eagle Express is seen as a luxurious experience with fine dining, a great way to cross the island of Sodor in style. The final scheduled express does not originate on the Northwestern's network. The post train departs Manchester at 6 p.m. with 6 passenger coaches and 8 mail vans. It is a constant sprint until it reaches its first stop at Vicarstown at 8:50, where it slows down. Notably, it is the only express service not to make a call at Barrow-in-Furness or Crovan's Gate, instead continuing on to Wellsworth Junction at 9:35. Here it drops off its mail vans and most of its passengers. It continues to Tidmouth less than half full, arriving at 10 o'clock on the dot. Its return journey is nicknamed the Midnight Special, as it races back to Barrow-in-Furness, usually arriving at midnight exactly. The post train is radically different than the other express services, as it is hauled by a British Railways Class 44. It also deviates from the Tidmouth to Barrow route, originating in Manchester. All of the routine express services hauled by Gordon use modified versions of the ex-Southern Railway Monsell coaches, of which the NWR owns 22 of. Meanwhile, the Eagle Express uses custom diner coaches developed at Crovan's Gate Works in the late 1920s. The Northwestern Railway is the sole revenue operator of this type of coach, owning 8 examples, although an additional 5 are owned by the Normanby Estate Railway. The post train uses British Railways Mark I corridor coaches for the passengers and standard Sudrian CCT vans for the post itself. The express services are the crux of the Northwestern's passenger operations, with many commuter and branch line trains timed around them. While expresses might be the crux, the commuter trains are the backbone of the Northwestern's operations. There are 9 round-trip services that call at all 11 of the mainline stations. Most of these runs have connecting services with the branch lines at Knapford, Wellsworth, and Kildane. Unlike the express services, where each journey is operated semi-independently of each other, the commuter service is a much more timetabled affair. It is centered around the operations of number 10,000 Helen, who operates half of the commuter trains. She starts her day at 10:30 a.m. at Tidmouth. Each leg is 1 hour and 45 minutes long, with 15-minute turnarounds between journeys. She is able to fit 4 round trips into her schedule this way, originating at Tidmouth at 7:30 a.m., 11:30, 3:30 p.m., and 7:30 p.m. While number 10,000 is doing these runs, another engine is typically traveling in the opposite direction. The first of these trains is a British Railways operated run pulled by a BR Class 24 and departing Barrow-in-Furness at 8 o'clock. This is the only stopping service BR operates on Sodor, and is operated as an extension of the Manchester to Barrow service. The first Northwestern engine to start the opposing direction movements to number 10,000 is number 3, Henry, departing Tidmouth at 8:45. However, as the main goods engine on the NWR, this is the only service Henry gets to take. Number 5, James, handles the return leg of this trip back to Tidmouth, before doing 2 of his own round trips at 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. A supplementary service is also added, departing Tidmouth at 5:30. This usually is handled by number 25, Winston. However, it is often taken by whatever tender engine is at Tidmouth at the time. This service is important as it offers a relief trip during rush hour. The main locomotive used for commuter runs is the LNER's famous W1 Hush Hush locomotive number 10,000. However, number 5, another modified LNYR Class 28 with a larger boiler, is a secondary commuter engine. Number 3, a heavily rebuilt Black 5, used to be the main commuter engine, however serves a much more goods-oriented role now. For the coaches themselves, the NWR operates a fleet of 36 BR Mark I non-corridor coaches in 5 or 6 car configurations, depending on the time of day. This is the largest fleet of passenger coaches the NWR operates, being an extremely common sight on the Mainline and Brendan branch line. The Northwestern Railway operates passenger services for everyone. Holiday goers, football fans, businessmen, enthusiasts, and the everyday commuter can find a mainline service for them, with easy connections to the branch lines. As the island of Sodor continues its population boom, it is only a matter of time before we see even more passenger trains chugging their way from coast to coast.